His dog goes in and does his own search while the handler does the other search. He's waiting for the boogeyman to jump out and to kill him all the time. That's not the way that we can work our dogs. We have to work as a team. So what I try to teach is reaction. You have to react to a situation. When you're going along, you're searching for a bad guy. It isn't the guy, the robbery suspect that's got the shotgun that's going to kill you. You already know he's got the shotgun. You're ready for him. It's the guy that steals the car or the burglar that you don't know that just got out of the joint and doesn't want to go back, or their narcotic suspect. That's where you're going to get hurt. And that's where, when you're doing your dog search and you locate this guy, you are going to have to react to this individual. And it doesn't matter whether you have a gun in your hand while you're searching or a gun in your holster. I personally keep mine in my holster because my hands are busy doing some other things. Okay? I'm directing my dog, I'm using my flashlight or whatever. You can clear leather and shoot just as fast as if you have a gun in your hand. The other thing I want to say is that unfortunately for everybody else in the country, we are exporting some real assholes from Los Angeles throughout the United States. Okay? And some of you are probably experiencing it right now, the Bloods and the Crips and all the gangs. God help you. That's all I can say. It's a war zone in Los Angeles, has been for quite a few years. It's just now hitting the news. And I'm here to tell you these are some real bad guys. And they have no value on life whatsoever. In order to join this gang, they have to shoot somebody, period. And that's drive-by shootings, that's all kinds of craziness. And it is coming to mid-America. No question about it. They're taking over entire towns now. In Los Angeles, they have entire city blocks that are armed encampments. They pay one individual, usually a juvenile, because he won't get the gas chamber. God knows we don't kill anybody in the gas chamber in California anyway. But his job is to fire up a police car if it comes around the corner while the dope deal is going down. If you are lucky enough to come around that corner, and they're using AK-47s now, and it's going to come right through your car. They're not using Uzis, they're not using MAC-10s anymore. We're using AK-47s. They found out they're real successful with it. So, what do we do with that? The only thing that can save you, especially if you're searching for these fools, is your tactics. What you're thinking, your frame of mind. In every seminar I have ever been to, including on my department, you always go into a situation, you get shot, everybody stops. And then you critique the situation. In this seminar, if you get shot at, I want you to return fire. You will do what you have been trained to do. If you get used to being shot and then stopping and thinking, oh shit, I got shot, that's what you're going to do on the street. But if you get used to reacting, you hear gunfire and you react to the gunfire and you return fire, that's what you're going to do on the street. Do not assume that you're killed, even if the guy is right next to you. Okay? In tactics, frame of mind is the most important thing. What you're thinking about while the situation is occurring. Probably what you need to do is, if you get shot at or if you're in a fight, you need to get mad. You have to think about some different things beforehand. You've got to run scenarios over in your mind. You have to think about what you're going to do. You can't think about every single situation. But what you do need to do is you need to survive. I will ask you a lot, you'll see some situations, I'm sure you've heard of them, where officers have given up, where officers have stood there while they're being shot. They've begged for their life. That's a pretty scary situation for them. If you, in your mind, let me ask you this, if somebody tried to steal your child from you, what would you do? You'd fight tooth and nail, wouldn't you? You'd give your life for your child. Well, when somebody takes your life, that's exactly what they're doing to you. It's exactly what they're doing. They're taking your family from you, and you from your family, and you from us. We don't want that to happen. So if you can keep that in your mind, that they are stealing your children from you, you're going to fight with everything that you have, and you're going to take them out, and you're probably going to win. These people are not used to officers going after them. And that's exactly what you have to do. Get mad, get aggressive, and win. In a gun battle, I prefer to call it fighting with the pistol. If somebody punches you in the mouth, you're not going to stand back and say, please don't hit me anymore. Right? You're going to kick his ass. I'm sure everybody here has been in a good Donnybrook out there. You have to do the same thing with a gun. You have to fight with your pistol. The It's all mental attitude. And as dog handlers, we're kind of a unique group. You know, it's probably the most dangerous position that you can be in law enforcement. In Los Angeles, even our SWAT lieutenant, and those guys do a lot of stuff, went to our captain and said, that is the most dangerous job I have ever seen. Because you are the point man. You're the one running the entire situation. You're the one that's going to roll on every big caper. That you're going to go after the guy that just shot an officer. You're going to go after the guy that just robbed a bank. These are some bad people out there. And you are going to have to be ready for it. And what we do is we hunt for people. When you go out and you stalk it, you hunt for a deer. You stalk him, don't you? You don't search for the deer. You stalk the deer. You hunt for him. And Hemingway, I'll quote Hemingway a little bit, and this kind of puts it together for all of us here. Hemingway wrote, "There is no hunting like the hunting of man. And for those who have hunted armed men long enough, never care, and liked it, never care for anything else thereafter." And that is really what we do. It's kind of the unofficial LAPD K-9 unit motto. We go out and we hunt people. You have to be ready for it. And don't think that because you live in a small town, if you do, or you work in a small town, that it can't come to you. Because that is where most of the shootings occur in this country. It's where you're out on a road by yourself, and all of a sudden you pull over a carload of Crip dogs, and you don't know it, and they get out and they fire you up. That's when it's going to happen. Or some white guy that looks just nice and cool, that's crazier than you can believe, and you walk up on the car and he opens up on you with his automatic weapon. What are you going to do? You have to be ready for those situations. Believe that it can happen to you. It probably will happen to you more than it will happen to me, even though I'm a police officer in Los Angeles. We have a lot of shootings, but they occur more out here. I have some tapes here from some various different places. Maybe some of you have seen some of them. Okay, I know one of them that you haven't seen. The first one is going to be, which one? Okay. To drive that point home about small towns, this particular situation is in Norco, California. Now, Norco is a little bitty two-horse town out in the middle of the California desert. Okay? And basically what happened is these are some really bad guys that go in to rob a bank there. These guys have been robbing banks in small towns throughout the San Bernardino area for a couple of months. They have automatic weapons, they have homemade grenades, they have all kinds of craziness. Tom, why don't you go ahead and turn this on here. This town is a population of 20,000 or less, okay? It's gonna go on 4. In this tape, you're going to see some real heroes, and you're going to see some tactics that are a little bit crazy. Can everybody hear that and see it? You want to turn out the lights?
Spectacular bank robberies to occur in the United States took place here. 5 heavily armed men would commit a robbery at this bank that would result in 2 of the suspects being killed. 1 Riverside County sheriff killed, 8 other police officers wounded, 33 police vehicles damaged or completely destroyed, 1 sheriff's jet helicopter shot down, and numerous civilians shot at. Gunfire would damage several private cars and homes. The leader of the armed robbers was this man, George Wayne Smith, age 29. He is the only member who has served in the military. Smith served 2 years in the Army Artillery before being honorably discharged. Not much is known about any of the 5 suspects, as none of them had any significant criminal record of any kind except for minor drug charges. George Smith worked for the city of Cypress, California as a maintenance man. He is a known and admitted anarchist who often spoke of overthrowing the American government. Christopher Greg Harmon, 27 years old, worked with George Smith as a maintenance man for the city of Fountain Valley. He served 1 month in the Army before being dishonorably discharged. Chris Harmon and George Smith would both lose their jobs and move to Menomonie, California, where they would live together for about
Guys, all right, and you're going to have to. There's some things to think about on that, and I'm sure that everybody needs to take a break. Anybody want to take a break here before we talk about this? The announcement here, Tom. Again, you have to think about what are you going to do if you've got to go search for people like this. Well, I hate to say it, but in Los Angeles, we search for these kind of people every day. Okay, and it's an armed encampment in the city of Los Angeles. So we've had to sit back and really think about what we're going to do as canine handlers for these type of people. 40% of the people that we search for are armed at the time that we're searching for them. I'm sure the percentage, whether you know it or not, is probably the same for just about the rest of the United States. Okay, you may not get as many searches as we do. We get a lot of volume. But I'm sure that you have just as bad a criminals as we do, if maybe not a little bit crazier. Okay? So what do? You get to a situation like this, and you don't know anybody there. You have no communications. You have nothing. You get there, and it's a big Chinese fire drill. Nobody knows what's going on. A lot of misinformation being put out as at any typical officer-involved shooting. Huh? I'm sure that we've all been there, and there's a lot of bad stuff put out about it. Descriptions, people put out what they think or what they guess out on the air, and so on. That's bad news. One of the things, when they talked about radio discipline, that's really what they're talking about. First of all, unless you need help or anything else, or have to put out some real pertinent information, keep off the radio. Because you may cover some copper that is getting shot at, or is shot, or needs help, or that does have some pertinent information. Many times, I hear on our radios, somebody put out a help call, and all the units are going. 12 Atom 85 is en route, 12 Atom 1 is en route, da-da-da-da, everybody's en route. Well, you don't need to tell them you're en route. You're just going, all right? Also, when you get to the scene, you've got officers there that you've never worked with before. Some of us that work in large cities, that's usually the norm. We're going to go out and search for a burglar or whatever. It doesn't matter if you're searching for a burglar or for these kind of guys. And maybe some of them have never been on a dog search before, and maybe some of them you have worked with many times. How many guys here explain what they're going to do and what their jobs are, the search team officers' jobs are, before they do the search? Okay? A few. It's really important, and I don't care if you've had the same guy on the search with you unless he is assigned to you. And if you've had him on a search with you 50 times, you should always make out a little spiel. And you should tell every officer that you're going to take on your search team what his job is. Okay? First of all, we have to consider why does somebody volunteer to go on a dog search? He wants to see the dog eat the guy up, right? I mean, that's, basically reality. Okay. What happens there is the dog becomes entertainment. And so he's going to be watching the dog to watch the dog go eat this guy up. That's not his job. We all know that the way scent works, that you can, in some cases, if you're upwind and there's no track available, the dog can walk past a suspect until you get downwind on him. You are the point man. You are out front, you're watching your dog, you're directing him, and you're not going to probably see this guy. That's your backup team's job. We normally take 2 people on a backup team with us. We have the luxury of having 7,800 policemen, so that we can go ahead and pull these people in and do our search. Now, when we get in situations like this, we take strictly canine handlers with us, all right? And we train so that we go in a team movement. Everybody knows their job. We have a shotgun man. We have special equipment. We have an 1100 shotgun with a flashlight mount. We have special tactical vests and all kinds of different trick things that we use. We have the shotgun man's job is to stay within 10 to 15 feet of the dog handler. If he goes into a building, he goes in with him. If he goes under a house, he covers him. His job is to cover the handler. In case a firefight goes down, the handler is going to take cover, and the shotgun man is going to do what he has to do. Okay? The reason we use an 1100 is so we can double tap the suspect. Everybody know what double tap is, right? Okay. Everybody using it, the double tap? No? Okay. Especially in today with the drugs and so on, the double tap is absolutely necessary. A lot of these guys, you hit them one time, you fire one time, and it just pisses them off. You double tap, shuts down their system, and if that doesn't work, you put one in the head. It's called a failure drill. 2 in the chest and 1 in the head. Okay, into their computer, and you stop them. All right, I'll get into that a little bit later. But basically, we take canine handlers in with us on these type of things. We've been real successful with it. We get in a lot of shootings in our canine unit. And we also use our dogs as a tactical tool in some cases. All but 2 of the shootings that we've been in over the years, the dog has been attached to the suspect. And we practice skip shooting. Now, you notice when this thing first occurred, what did one of the deputies do? He got under his car. Bad news. He's a very lucky individual. Because if you skip around on the pavement, it'll travel the normal length or the normal trajectory 6 inches off the ground. Now, we've dumped people by using that. You skipped around. I wish we had some skip pads out here, you would see. The same thing is true with a wall. If you've got a block wall and you've got a suspect that's down there shooting at you, you don't have to expose yourself. And if he's stupid enough to be next to that wall, you reach around there and crank around right into the wall. And it's going to travel 6 inches down that wall and take him out. It can also travel 6 inches down the wall and take you out. Okay? What do we all learn when we first go in the academy? Or not all of us, some of us. They tell you to get up against the wall. They tell you to move down the wall. That's bad news, unless it's a soft wall, because that guy can skip that round and take you out. Okay? That's just a little side thing. When you go to these searches, make your spiel. Here's what I tell everybody that I have a search with, my search team officers, whether I know them or not. First of all, I try to pick the best officers I can. That's number one. Sometimes you don't have that luxury. You don't know who you're taking with you. I tell them, this is my dog, this is the end that bites, and this is the end that shits. Okay? His name is so-and-so. Right? In this case, his name is Artos. I will be out in front of you. I will be using my flashlight to direct the dog. I'll pick a guy and I'll say, I want you to be within 10 to 15 feet of me at all times. If I have to go under a house, you go with me. If I have to go into a building, you go with me. Wherever I go, you are my shadow. The other officer is to stand back a little bit farther, and he is to cover our backs, because I will tell them that the dog can pass a suspect up. Their job is to watch high, watch low, and watch my back, watch everywhere but the dog. I will tell them when the dog picks up scent. They don't need to watch that. And then at that time, they can start looking for cover. I also tell them that if the dog makes contact with the suspect and becomes involved in an altercation, do not jump in. The dog will bite you. If he needs help, I will help him. If we both need help, we're in some deep shit. Okay? I will also tell them that do not get on the radio and tell everybody else that we have located the suspect, because what happens? The entire world comes down on you, huh? Everybody wants to come in. That creates a tactical nightmare. It creates crossfire situations. And on top of that, the dog doesn't know who to bite. Okay? They get in there, start thumping this guy with batons. My dog gets hit, I get pissed off, everything. You know, it's not a good idea. I tell them, don't get on the radio and broadcast until the suspect is in custody. I will then designate an arresting officer. I will say, I want you to handcuff the man. And do not go in there until I have control of my dog, because what happens in reality? We all get out here on the training field, the dogs are nice and clean, you call them back to a foos, everything's cool. But a good veteran dog's going to go out there and he's like a good cop. He's going to want to take that last cheap shot, right? That's reality. We all know it, all right? So what happens? You call your dog off, and he comes back, or you call him into a sit and bark, whatever the case may be, you're going to grab him by the collar. And then you tell these officers, take him. And then everybody knows their job. One covers and one handcuffs. No confusion. Okay? I also tell them that if you need to dump this guy, if you need to fire him up, and my dog is on him, do not hesitate, because my dog is there. I'll feel real bad, but better him than me. I can't replace me, and I can't replace you. But I can replace my dog, and that is his job. Shoot anyway. Don't hesitate. Okay? We get that straight, and we go on a search. When I am on a search, or somebody else is on a search, They control the entire situation. Everything that goes down there comes from the canine handler, period. All right? You have to set that precedence before you get in there. And that is, if you have to tell a deputy chief or a captain or whatever what you need, and you need it, you tell him. If you want extra people or extra dogs, you get them en route. You do whatever you need to do to get it done. Okay? Okay. The next tape is, again, we talk about frame of mind. And again, this is a tactical seminar. First of all, let me just tell you that the reason for this whole seminar is to just make you think. If we can have you walk away from here in 3 days thinking about what you're doing, then we did our job. Okay? This particular thing is a location, city in Northern California near San Jose. This officer gets involved in an altercation with an individual. He's not thinking tactics. He's thinking like the usual police officer. He's thinking narcotics. You must assume that everybody that you stop is armed. And then only relax after you find out he's not. All right? You're going to listen to this and you're going to think, Jesus Christ, this guy came up a winner, but I don't know how. All right? The whole thing on this tape that they attribute to his winning is physical fitness. Well, that's real nice. The guy runs 50 miles a week and all kinds of craziness. That's real nice. But that physical fitness doesn't mean shit when you got bullets flying at you. Okay? And I think that the idea of this tape is in the wrong vein. They should have talked more about what he's thinking and gotten his weapon. He's shit out of luck. Okay? And not only that, but when he's fighting for this gun, he's got another one to go to. And he can contact this guy right now. You know, what he's thinking about getting up an arm's length and all this other, Jesus Christ. I don't know what's going through this guy's mind. 10 minutes this guy's fighting. How long does it take to get through to him? You know? I mean, my God. Frame of mind. This guy's up in Northern California. That is the true land of the fruits and nuts. Okay? You know, he's probably, hey, dude, you know, he's a surfer boy, you know, and, oh, God, and shit like that. He's not thinking like a cop. He's talking about wrestling people and putting them in headlocks. Jesus, man, that went out in 1950. There's things called chokeouts, you know, batons, things like that. There's all kinds of different tactics. I don't know where these people go to their academy, but Jesus, headlocks? You know, on your gun side? Give me a break. Not thinking. And that is what, this guy is, it's unbelievable that he's alive. It is unbelievable. Again, the tape puts the wrong emphasis. They put it on physical fitness. You should be in good physical shape. But you also got to think. Okay? This might sound a little bit cold, but you know, when we're out there, you know, the sun don't shine very often for us. And when the sun does shine, you got to take advantage of it. Okay? If you do not want to put crooks in jail, if you do not want to mix it up with suspects, if you don't want to put them in the Gray Bar Hotel, you got to find another business. This guy, all he wants to do is go take a report. Okay? All he wants to do is he wants to live in this nice little quiet community and not get involved. That's not right. If you're not looking to put people in jail, if you're not looking for bad guys, you're going to get caught surprised. There's no question about it. You are going to get caught. Everybody that you stop, and I don't give a shit if it's a 60-year-old lady, because they have shot policemen too. You must assume that they're armed, because there's nobody that's got a rubber stamp on their head that says, I'm going to kill you. There's no neon signs on their cars that says bad guy. You don't know until you check the situation out. Okay? I know this has nothing to do with dogs, but it does in some aspects, because it is mental attitude for us. Okay? We'll go ahead and do the other shooting tape right now. This goes along with the same thing, mental attitude. I'm going to set this up for you. This next tape is a shooting that my brother was in. My brother was a police officer for the city of Los Angeles for 10 years. He worked in the same division that I did, which is called 77th Division, when I was in a radio car down there, and I was working at the time that this occurred. My brother had been, well, this was his third shooting. Before he was medically retired, he was in 5 shootings and killed 5 suspects, okay? This particular shooting was a toe-to-toe, hellacious shootout. Basically, and his partner in this thing was a probationer of mine. I had him while he was on probation. Once he got off probation, he teamed up with my brother, okay? 77th Division is the hottest division in the city of Los Angeles. It is the Watts area, okay? And prior to this, there was the Black Panthers and the ES organization and so on and so forth. This particular location that we're talking about here in the tape is a place that, the tape is not absolutely correct, so that's why I have to tell you about this. The place is a place that we called Parker's Pad. There used to be people that would line up out to the street to buy pills. I mean, literally line up. And what they would do is they would have a prescription bottle with their name on it, and they would go up and they would buy amphetamines and barbiturates from Mr. Parker, who also ran whores and gambling and everything else. And they'd go in, get the bottle filled up, put it in their pocket, and walk out. Well, the ones that didn't, and we couldn't do much with them. We'd take them down, screw with them a little bit, but because they had a prescription bottle from the doctor, we couldn't prove that it was illegal narcotics. Now, this was prior to Los Angeles having dogs, okay? Narcotic dogs, patrol dogs, anything. And we hit this place no less than a dozen times. And we would tear it apart, and we could never find his narcotics. We could never find any guns. We could never find anything in this place. So what we would do is we'd put the heat on the customers. A lot of them, what they would do is they would come out, they would see the police, and they'd start eating the dope. So the coppers would go up and choke the shit out of them and make them spit out the dope, okay, and take them to jail. Well, I happened to be with my partner that day, and we're sitting out. The first thing we'd do is we'd go and sit in front of Parker's Pad, or down the street so nobody could see us, and we'd watch the dope deal go down, or somebody come out of the pad, and we'd go jam them, and we'd take them to jail. And we were getting a lot of felony arrests, sometimes up to 100 a month, okay, out of this place, per car. It's a busy location, huh? Mr. Parker was making big money. All right. We're sitting out in front, and we see a heroin addict come walking by us. So we scoop him up, and we're on our way taking him to jail. And I run into my brother and his partner, and I tell him, hey, there's a car parked out in front of Parker's Pad. We couldn't get close enough to get the plate, but you know they're in there buying dope. Okay, so they take our place. All right, and I thought it was my brother that had been shot, and I kicked the hype out of the car. As far as I know, we still got my handcuffs on him. And responded to the scene. We were the second car there. And just in time to load Ted up into the car and get him to the hospital as fast as we could. After we took the other 2 suspects into custody, probably the only reason that they weren't shot, to be quite honest, is because my brother ran out of ammunition. We went to the hospital, and I talked to Ted a little bit before he went into surgery, and made him a little promise. We left that location and went back to what he calls the Chicken Man's Pad, which was not what we called it at the time. He got called that later on, because we went in there and we took it down, and we went in with fire axes and picks, and we found the narcotics, finally. Okay, we tore this place literally apart. Mr. Parker went to jail. We found it in a false safe in a floor. Obviously, if we had a dog prior to that, none of this would have happened. Somehow, about a month later, that house got burned down. I don't know how. It is no longer standing. That's why they had to find another place to film. Okay? And Parker, who was a major criminal, ended up going to prison. Okay? Ted Severance was retired originally off the job from the gunshot wound. It pierced his colon and a couple of other organs. He tried to come back, and he just couldn't make it, and they retired him. He is now back working again, working Hollywood now, as they said. First they put him back in patrol, and then put him back in the detectives. As you could tell, my brother is now retired. When he got dusted the second time around, it was an incredible experience. I went to the hospital. We had to hold him down for 5 hours. Fight him for 5 hours. He literally thought people were trying to kill him, and so on and so forth. Okay, it was quite an experience for me. It made me start smoking again, as a matter of fact. But the crux of this whole tape here is, again, mental attitude. You must survive. You owe it to your partner to survive. You owe it to your family to survive. And the only way that you can do that is fight with your pistol. That is the only way. Truly what happened here is Ted ran up to the car thinking they're going to eat the dope. Bobby hung back, and that's when the guy came out and shot Ted, knocked him back, contact wounded him. And anybody here that's been in a shooting knows it goes down that fast. This was all kind of in 3/4 speed or slow motion here. But it goes down that fast. In your mind, if you've been in a shooting, you know that everything slows down. It happens to a lot of people. It's like everything's going in slow motion. And I remember Bobby telling me, yeah, man, he says, I thought the guy had a cannon. It was so loud. And he could almost actually see the bullets coming out of the gun. Okay? That's when Bobby yelled at the guy, hey, because he knew he was going to. And again, it's boom, boom. And the guy's walking up to shoot him. Bobby's reaction time was normal, and yelled at the guy. The guy turned at him, and they, in fact, exchanged rounds the first time. Bobby shot him the first time. That guy cranked around too. Bob got one off just a hair of a second faster and spun him just a tad, which made him miss my brother. Okay? From that day on, Bob wore a vest. Anybody here not wear a vest? Everybody wear a vest? Good. No? Okay. With the type of equipment here nowadays, there is no excuse for not wearing a vest anymore. That's no lie. There's been a lot of coppers that have been saved by those things. And I personally, our department is that anytime you go on a canine search, you shall wear a vest, and that's the backup officers and everybody else for that very reason. Okay? You're fooling yourself if you don't. It's your choice, of course. But you might think about it. Backup guns, too. They may be a little uncomfortable, but it can save your butt. As in this situation here, probably did save my brother. By the way, the last 2 shots were in the gentleman's head before he got run over. So that was kind of a good tactic, huh? Sometimes that car can be your best weapon. I know that I was being fired on one time in an alley. I mean, there was no place for me to go. So I ran the son of a bitch over. You know, it's the best tool in the world. You hear thump thump, and that was the end of the shootout. You can use that car to your advantage. Anyway, this has, again, nothing to do with dogs, but it is tactics. Country that use their dogs in SWAT operations. There are some that don't. And I think a lot of that depends on how your SWAT team works. For example, in Los Angeles, we don't make entries with our SWAT team, okay, because they move inch by inch. These guys, you know, they're the guys with the arms this big, you know, and all that shit. They work out and work at SWAT stuff day after day after day, hour after hour, and they move inch by inch. They do their job very well. Working dogs with them is like apples and oranges, okay? You try to make an entry with these guys, the dog moves fast, huh? They can't move fast. It is ingrained in them to work the way that they've always been trained to work, okay? So we don't make entries with them. However, what we will do is, if they go in and they clear a location and they can't find the guy, then we'll bring a dog in, see if he's in the attic or see if he's in a false wall, something like that, pinpoint the guy for him, and then they take him out, okay? I know that Denver used to, I just got informed that they don't use their dogs in their SWAT operations anymore on their entries for, I don't know what exact reason right now, but I'm sure that some people here use their dogs in SWAT operations. No? Yes? Okay. And you know, I've heard a lot of good success stories behind it. There's no question about it. And I think especially for departments that are not quite the size of ours, where, you know, they have the luxury of having all these people to be able to special train and everything else, I think it's probably a good idea. However, as we've all been on SWAT operations, we've all been on barricaded suspects, we know how long it can take. And what happens is you sit there and you wait and you wait and you wait, okay? Now the other night, it was 2 weeks ago, we had a guy that was a crazy, which is really highly unusual for Los Angeles, that kind of went a little bit berserk over a woman, if you can believe that shit, okay? And he was despondent about his ex-wife, so he decides he's going to shoot up the entire city of Los Angeles. And he's going down the street, shooting at cars moving by, or driving by, and shooting at people and everything that's moving, and including a police officer that responded to the location. And there was some people hit in these cars and so on and so forth. He makes his way down the street into his own backyard, okay, which is a very, for Los Angeles, it was a very large yard, and it also contained 2 6-foot alligators in the back of it, live ones. Okay, this guy is armed to the teeth. I mean, he's got shotguns like you won't believe. He's got 30 caliber carbine. He's got an M16 and handguns all over the place. Okay, and of course the helicopter is overhead, and this guy is shooting at the helicopter. In fact, hits it a few times. And this is in West Los Angeles Division, which is basically your upper class, very rich neighborhood. And the policemen there are, we kind of disown them a little bit. Okay, we call it West LA Police Department. They are not the best tactical people in the world because they have become complacent. They live around they work around UCLA, you know, which is the liberal capital of the United States, and they don't get involved in a lot of stuff, so they become complacent. They set up a perimeter around this guy, and they don't know what to do. It is your basic Chinese fire drill out there. We start responding, and we get there. One of my units is near a house next to this one, and you can hear the rounds going off, obviously. I get there, and as I'm pulling up, you know, the city of Los Angeles is a humongous place, and you can't know every street, I guarantee you. So I'm trying to find this officer who's telling me I need some canine units over here. This guy is right next door, da-da-da-da-da. I'm coming down a major street, and I see 2 cars, police cars, and guys proned out behind the wheels, which is a clue. Okay?
This must be the place.
Yeah. And so obviously, my mama didn't born no fool, and I stopped my car, and I, with my funny little knee, start crawling up there. And this guy is cranking off rounds like you won't believe. The problem with it is his yard is kind of a pie-shaped yard, and it's got a 6-foot fence, and it's covered with heavy brush. You can't see into the yard, but he can see out. And there's a white shed in the back of in this yard. And what he's doing is he's coming out, he's firing rounds at the helicopter who's hovering overhead, and he steps back in and reloads, and he comes out and he's firing rounds again, and so on and so forth. This goes on and on and on. No sergeants want to make a decision, and so I have the rest of my canine units respond, and we figured, we don't know that this is in fact the guy's yard yet, so we're figuring he's going to bust out of this place, and we're in a really good position because any way he goes, we got him. We take and we position a dog behind one of these cars with the handler. And we put a shotgun guy over here and a shotgun guy over here. So if this guy comes out, the plan of action was send the dog and dump the guy before the dog gets to him. If you miss him, the dog's going to take him down. Okay? And then we do what we have to do. Well, this went on and on and on, and we're kind of used to these situations, and so we don't become too complacent in these things. However, in this next tape, you will see complacency almost got some people killed. The reason I'm telling you this story is because of this next thing. It was a very similar situation that actually occurred in San Diego. It goes on and on and on, and I'm looking for a place of advantage to be able to get in here and take this guy out, because if this helicopter gets shot too many times, it's going to come down right on some houses. It's going to kill some people. We need to stop this guy right now. This guy fires like 200, maybe 300 rounds, okay, over this period of time, which is a lot. He comes out with shotguns, he comes out with 30 calibers and so on. So I see an open gate to this yard off in the darkness, and it was next to a railroad track, and there's a mound of dirt there. Our plan of action is to, when this guy steps back into the shed, we're going to make it up to this mound of dirt, and when he comes back out to shoot at the helicopter again, we're going to put his lights out. Okay? So I get on the radio and I tell the helicopter, listen, after he comes out and shoots again, let me know when he goes back into the shed, because it was like 5-minute intervals before he'd come out again. Gave us plenty of time to get up there. He says, okay. Well, the asshole never came out again. Okay? We're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. What he did is he shot himself with his .30 caliber in the gourd. Killed himself. We didn't know that. Except it was really a strange thing. This is a side note. We're sitting there, we're waiting for this guy to come out, waiting. About a half an hour after we hear the last shot, this white puff of smoke comes out from the shed. Okay? We never did find out what that white puff of smoke was. It just kind of drifted off in the distance. I think it was, yes. It was Du Bois' spirit going to hell. It was really strange. It was kind of weird. That guy ain't going to do this no more. This is a similar situation here. This is a crazy that went berserk down in San Diego. And this is news footage from various TV stations down in San Diego. There was a dog handler involved in this thing. All right? It is only by luck that he survived this situation. Only luck, because the asshole's gun jammed. He had an AK-47. All right? You will see in the first thing here, the dog bites the muzzle of the AK-47. I mean, it's right here. The guy pulls the trigger and nothing goes off. Okay? The handler was standing there with a leash wrapped around his hand. And he's standing up against a block wall like this. Now you gotta remember, probably thousands of rounds have been fired in this situation already. I will say this, that just prior to this, they had put a shape charge on this location. They were gonna blow a hole in it. The explosives man had told everybody, get down, there's gonna be fire in the hole, okay? Also, there's a problem because the way this thing originally started was San Diego County Sheriffs rolled on this thing. They went to make an entry. 2 of their officers get shot, 1 of which was killed. They backed off. It became a major situation, a 12-hour standoff. They called in San Diego Police Department. The 2 SWAT teams had never worked together, and they did not have communications, okay? On top of that, everybody is wearing camouflage. All the SWAT officers. Guess what asshole was wearing? Camouflage. And in fact, when he first appears in the door, they think, somebody says, what's the SWAT officer doing inside? Well, they found out when the guy came out shooting with his AK-47. It was not a SWAT officer. This guy gets hit 5 times with MP5 fire. They have an armored personnel carrier out in front of this location. As he busts out, they hit him 5 times. You will not even see him react. Okay? 5 hits, 9mm rounds. He doesn't even react. He comes around the corner. He goes to shoot. This guy is very fast. First of all, he's shooting left-handed, then he changes to the right. With the reason his gun jammed, because he was shooting left-handed and he had it up against his body. And it's stovepiped. But as he got around the corner, he switches it, sticks it in the dog's mouth, who bites it, and pulls the trigger. It malfunctions. He clears it and shoots at another SWAT officer that's laying down over here. Okay? He gets hit in the back by number 4 shot. I don't know why people use that, but some people do. And he goes down. As this is happening, the dog handler shoots 7 rounds of 45 caliber ammo at this guy, and we're talking from me to Mike, and misses him. As he's doing this, the dog is jumping up like this at the handler. Okay? This is the handler that was relaxing against the wall. He ain't relaxing now. Okay? Somehow he's got the leash wrapped, or I don't know, it's all screwed up here in his left hand. And then you'll see a great amount of time after this guy goes down that the handler is screwing with the leash and the dog. Okay? And in fact, at first the handler pulled the dog away from the suspect, thinking this is a SWAT officer. Okay? And then the handler jumps on the suspect, the dog jumps on the suspect. 42 SWAT guys jump on a suspect, one of which runs up and goes boom in the head, okay, with a 45. Reason being is they thought he had body armor on because he did not show any reaction, and they knew they hit him as they were going along, okay? And they were wrestling for his gun that he had underneath him, okay? okay? He did have a handgun underneath him. They were fighting. This guy was still alive, and they were fighting for the gun. SWAT officer comes up and puts one in. It's going to happen. The guy's coming around the corner, and the dog tries to eat the gun. All he sees is somebody coming around the corner, and he reacts, okay? The problem is when the handler started firing, what did the dog do? Okay, which probably made him miss right there. The handler's got the dog on leash, which is probably the right thing to do in that situation. He's around the corner. He's waiting for inspections, probably. Okay, that also causes him some problems. And he fires, again, 7 rounds and misses. After the handler gets done firing and the guy goes down, now he probably had the leash, as far as I can see, maybe wrapped around his hand. Okay, maybe that's a problem. It takes him a long time to get this undone. And then the guy's got big huevos, huh? He jumps on this guy. This guy really had some big balls, no question about it. And he takes this guy out. I have to give him credit for that. I question what's been done with the dog. There's 2 different schools of thought: attack on gunfire and passive response on gunfire. It's your choice. If you train your dog for passive response, all it takes is the word pocket or get him or take him or whatever your command is. If you have your dogs automatically attack on gunfire or aggressive response to gunfire, and if that is your choice, then you must think about friendly fire. Okay? You must think about fire behind you, your fellow officers, or in the situation where it is not tactically safe to send your dog, or tactically feasible. If the guy is 50 yards away and he's got a rifle, that's a suicide round. What good is the dog going to do you? He's not going to do you a damn bit of good. He's going to get killed. Okay? And now you got either a dead or wounded animal out there. Now what are you going to do? There's something to think about. I've had officers tell me, oh, we work on friendly fire. Okay. And we're going to run some exercises out here with friendly fire. And again, it's designed just to make you think of what can happen. It's like control. Fine and bark versus fine and bite. Control of your animal. Why do we have control? Why do we have control of our police dogs? Is it for the safety of the suspect? Not civil liability either. It doesn't matter if you got to choke your dog off that crook. First of all, it's for the innocent person. Okay? You must be able to stop your dog from going and biting a child, or that old lady that steps out on the back porch and says, "What are you doing in my backyard?" You better be able to stop him. And the other is for officer safety, which is probably the most important reason. If you are in a situation where the dog pinpoints the suspect, you should have the option of either telling your dog to take the person or to recall him. So you can get the proper cover, not concealment, but cover. Right? That's what control is for. Fine and bark versus fine and bite. How many here does a fine and bark? Okay. Obviously the rest does fine and apprehension. It doesn't matter what you do. It does not matter. Because we all know what really happens out there on that street, huh? We know. We know that, and I personally do a fine and bark, okay? And I'm going to tell you straight out what happens. Is, especially with a veteran dog, is he goes out there and he does a bitch and fine and bark for the first 3, 4, 5 guys. No problem. And then somebody hits him right between the rental lights. Huh? There goes your fine and bark. So now what happens? You now have to correct your dog to do a fine and bark on a passive suspect. Am I correct? How are you going to do that? You're either going to go up there and correct him, or you're going to use a remote training collar, or you're going to lie like a son of a bitch and say that he did it. Okay? That's true. That's what really happens out there. All right? So even if you do have a fine and bark dog, you still must maintain that instant control on the animal. If you've got a passive suspect, you've got to be able to call your dog off of him, or plots him, or down him in front of the suspect. Whatever your policy or personal opinions may be, whatever tactic you use, You have to be able to do that for your safety. Now, I know that there's kind of a new, it's not even new, the Danes have been doing it for years, but now there's a new style hitting this country of letting the dog go. He bites the suspect, and you don't take the dog off of him until you handcuff the suspect, and then you pick him up, choke him out, and take him back. Well, I understand the theory behind that, and I truly do. Personally, I don't call my dog off of a suspect until this guy says, "Please take me to jail." Okay? And you can do that. But when he says, "Please take me to jail," then I call my dog back. That's all he wants to do. My assisting officers go in and handcuff him. All right? The problem with the other technique is what if it's a copper? Or what if it is an innocent person the dog veers off on and takes them out? Now you have a tactical nightmare. And I'm going to give you a case in point that actually occurred about 6 months ago in another city. It was a multi-jurisdiction type situation, a pursuit of a suspect. I guess a drunk driver goes down. And they go in and they get the guy stopped somehow, and he puts his car in reverse and tries to run over some officers. And they fire him up. They shoot all kinds of rounds. And the guy lunges forward and his car stops. Hits a telephone pole. Now there's I believe two or three officers that are across the hood of a car that just shot this guy. Okay? Another agency pulls up with their dogs. Their policy is to always clear a car with their dog. So the handler sends this dog. The dog goes up and sees the coppers, makes a turn around the police car, and proceeds to take one of them in the ass. Okay, now this is the dog. This is one of the dogs that they don't take off until they handcuff a suspect. The handler is screaming at the dog, and of course he's been trained to disregard that. And so they go up. The handler has to take his attention away from this person over here, go around, pick the dog up, get him away. Oh, by the way, prior to that, the officer is screaming at the guy, "Get your dog off of me." And the guy's screaming at the dog, so the officer goes boom, boom, boom 3 times with his handgun, trying to get the dog, scare the dog off of him, which just makes him shake more. And he's going to go put a round into the dog now. And finally the handler gets there, grabs the gun and says, "Don't shoot my dog." And then that's when he picks him up and takes him off. And then proceeds to send the dog into the car, and there were some post-mortem dog bites. Okay. That is a little dangerous. And those are things that you have to think about. You got to look at the entire picture when you're doing police work out there. And that can be a tragedy, no question about it. I won't say that our dogs have never bit policemen, because they have. But they've always been a major mistake on a copper's part, every single time. The guy comes out of the bushes someplace and cuts right behind a suspect while we're in foot pursuit and have sent the dog. And of course the dog takes the first guy to him, which happens to be a copper. But we're able to call that dog off right now and redirect him. So the injury is minimal, plus we do not have to distract ourselves to go choke our dog off of a guy and resend him. Okay? Those are things to think about. If you're in a situation, a gunfire situation, and a guy is down the street, which happened to me, and this is the reason we don't do attack on gunfire anymore. When I first started training, that was the standard in the country. That's what everybody did. Nobody knew any different. I see this guy pumping some shotgun rounds into a car about a half a block down the street. And it's obviously, I mean, I ain't no fool. I ain't going to run up there and take this guy on. I stop in a tactical position. I go to get out of my car, and my dog is going bananas because he hears the gunfire. And he's trying to climb over the top of me to get out and go get this guy, which would be a foolish thing for my dog to do. Okay? There's no way, unless the guy was a pretty poor shot, that he could miss this dog with a 12-gauge shotgun coming at him. It caused me some considerable stress because I'm trying to give it this shot and talk and get cover and everything else. We ended up taking the guy into custody, of course. What it was a guy that was screwing his old lady, and he decided to let the guy know what he was going to do to him next, so he was shooting his car. There was nobody inside the car. But we didn't know that, of course. It made me really think. And I says, geez. And that was the time that the German influence started coming into the country, and they started talking about passive gunfire and so on and so forth. Okay? Prior to that, I had been worried about friendly fire. And my dogs were always pumped on gunfire. And so I said, okay, let's see what's going to happen. Well, I had another handler go out there with his dog, and I cranked off some rounds from him, and I got a scar from it. Okay? He flat out took me. So I had to work very hard on friendly gunfire after that. Okay? And I was never really satisfied with it. That's why we don't do it anymore. It's because we need, and there has been several situations, we've been in a lot of shootings where backup officers have also fired. Now, I've talked to a lot of policemen, they say, oh, it's no problem. I send my dog and we fire behind him all the time. We're going to do an exercise here, if we get to it today, if not, we'll get to it tomorrow, that there will be no agitator out in front. That's what everybody does, huh? They either got a sleeve or a body bite suit out there. They send their dog and they crank off rounds while he's en route. Well, the dog's got a nice fat target out here. That's okay. But what happens when you crank off some rounds, first of all, when the dog does not have a target out there, which is usually the case? You're going to be behind cover, and you're going to be cranking off rounds around the corner, and you're going to have your dog down next to you. He's not going to see this guy. And in most cases, he's not going to identify where gunfire is coming from anyway. Especially if the guy is standing still shooting at you. He's not going to identify that. See what he does. And then have somebody crank some rounds from behind you and see what the dog does. In most of those cases, you're going to be off leash. If he goes and bites this guy, he's going to be real pissed off. Not only that, but he is going to eliminate your backup. And that is a real hazard. Okay? Think about it. It's your choice. But it can be very dangerous. And again, all it takes is hit him. That's all it takes. Okay. Foot pursuits. I'm sure everybody here has been, or just about everybody has been in a foot pursuit with their dog, huh? How do you do a foot pursuit? You know, you got coppers all over the place running everything else. You bail out of your car, you send your dog. Anybody's dog ever taken another policeman down in a foot pursuit here? Nobody? First of all, always assume the guy is armed. I don't give a shit what kind of crime it is. You don't know where this guy is from. You have no idea. Just like the guy in the gladiola fields, the hay dude, he assumed it was drugs. This guy did not want to go back to the joint and had a gun and was going to kill a policeman. Just like my brother's partner, thinking drugs. Assumed that he did not have a gun. You must assume that he does. You call your dog out, and especially if it's the end of a vehicle pursuit and it's a foot pursuit, you call your dog out into a heel. Wait till your dog targets the suspect. Make sure he's on him, and then you send him. Because otherwise, the other coppers are coming in, they're going to fall on behind the suspect, and pretty soon they go down and you're in trouble. Okay, you have a bad bite. Mistake bite, not a bad bite. There is no such thing as a bad bite, huh? Mistake bite, and the guy gets away, probably, if he doesn't get tackled by somebody else. But what are you doing during that time? You should have your weapon out, ready to go. Anybody ever try to shoot on the run? Fast walk. Okay. Nobody's ever tried to shoot on the run. Do you know how to shoot on the run? Stop and shoot. You don't run and shoot. You ain't gonna hit him. All you're gonna do is blow out streetlights and shit. Okay? Why don't we go ahead and get this set up here so we can get rolling?
We're ready to go. He's ready.
All right. And walk through this entire area out here. Okay? Walk through the entire area. Contaminate the area is what I want you to do. He's not going up front.
Where can we stand? Is it right?
Okay.
Need to exercise it.
Plenty of...
He's on the other side.
160, 159.
Shoot at me or whatever. Maybe, I don't know how your dog works, but he's going to give us some kind of safety zone or something. So, and I have no idea where the other guy went, but I know the one guy, I last saw him going around a corner down there. Okay. Tom lost the other guy going that way, and he's history. He's a goner. Okay.
Bad motherfuckers.
Yeah, these are bad guys. He's shot. Well, you know they are animals, right?
Male or female?
That's a male.
Again, I dropped it.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Cross pin?
Yeah.
Is it really? No, you don't. Well, I'm not talking about the blanks, the dog, it makes shit.
Everybody's guns loaded.
We all set.
Handed a gun about 1 live round.
One live round?
Yeah, the rest were dead blanks. No, I mean live blank round.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. We'll start right here.
Okay, I'll follow you.
Who's?
Stand still. Everybody stays back behind us.
Sits.
There's first place. Problem may start about the second one.
Okay.
Possibly, right? It's up to you. In your opinion.
I have no idea,
You
honestly.
don't have opinions.
Okay. Wait a minute.
Window faces. Covered as we move out.
Here he comes.
Who's? Ah. Wait. Yeah. Come. One. Yeah. Yeah. Who's? Boy, come. Who's? Who's?
Go around again?
Who's? That's a boy. That's a boy. Who's? Yeah. 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 Who's? Hold on. Who's? Boy. Here. Here. Willie. Get him out of there. Find him. Is he in there? Is he in there? Find him, boy.
behind this door.
I got it.
Boy. Yeah. That's a boy. Boy. Back it, boy. Stand still. Platz! 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 All right, step out of the building! Keep your hands in view.
Yeah. Firing back at a police officer, blowing out their lights and all kinds of shit. And it ends up, they end up bailing out of the car. One guy goes north and two guys bail out and go south. And the driver officer goes after the driver of the vehicle. They engage in a gun battle around the corner. The passenger officer goes after the other two guys. They engage in a gun battle. The driver officer hears that going down and says, shit, man, my partner needs help. He runs back over. The suspects run down an alley. As they ran down the alley,
To bait you out and come out. Is that the only one in this
I
area?
don't know if he's baiting me or what, but he stuck his head out there a couple of times, and then I haven't seen him since.
Okay, now let me get this straight. One went north.
One went that way. I don't know where north or
chased that
south
guy.
is here.
I had a brief gun battle with him. I lost sight of him. My partner had two over here, so I come back over here and help my partner.
Right.
Lads. So he's out of the picture, so we're concerned about these.
Yeah,
two.
this guy's history over there, man.
Okay, so you know two went down this way, but you've only seen one.
Right.
Okay.
And we got a double perimeter set up. There's no way anybody could come in or they got out.
Okay. Okay. Okay, we're gonna work our way up to this location. Let me we'll get to a point, and then I'll be the point man, you'll be the number 2 man, you'll be the number 3 man. You cover our backs. Once we take him, if my dog, I'll send him out on a search. If he goes on alert, I'll let you know.
Okay.
If he hits the guy, then once he hits the guy, then I'll call him back. You'll be the arresting man. Let me call him back. You'll give all commands
Okay.
from that point on.
Okay.
And you'll make the handcuffing once you give the commands on. Should my dog get up there and there's a gun battle, if he gets hit, that's it. Don't hesitate. Go ahead and shoot the dog, or shoot through the dog. But do not, like I say, do not hesitate.
Okay.
So you stay about 15 feet behind me. You're watching our back. Stay about 10 feet behind him. Once we make contact, do not get in front of my dog. Don't rush up there because he'll nab you.
Okay.
Remember, cover and concealment.
A nab, is that Texas for bite?
That's,
Okay.
you'll feel the nab.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I got one question. This guy, dog finds and stuff, he comes out with a gun or something.
Okay. If he comes out with a
You don't
gun,
want to get across.
if he had, yeah, no, just remember your concealment and cover. If he comes out with a gun, shoot him. Order him, put his hands up, turn around, so you can see if he's got one back or in front.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
If he has a gun in his hand, tell him to open his hands. Don't tell him to drop them.
Okay.
All right? Okay. Go from there. Y'all ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Remember what your job is? Okay.
Look out, come in the rear. Cover you two guys at the very end.
Okay. What's your job?
My job is to be 15 feet behind you, to cover you, and to be the arresting officer. If we make contact, I'm supposed to give all the commands.
Okay. Once I call my dog back.
Right, once you call him back.
Okay. Secure.
And once you tell me that he is secure.
Okay. Start up here. I'll put him on this tree line. I'll put him on the cover right there. Okay.
Okay?
with stars. Don't rush up there.
The dog's not gonna bite me if I shoot this guy, is he?
Not
The dog's not gonna bite me if I shoot this guy, is he?
you screw up, he'll bite you. We'll work our way up. Got me covered?
I got you covered. Okay. I don't know whether to go up with this guy or not. Alright, I'll stay back. I ain't firing no rounds. Okay. Yeah. What the fuck happened? Fire back.
Drop your weapon! Stand still! Look! Move! Move!
These days, because you'll say, oh shit. I got lighten up a little bit. These police officers. Has the luxury of looks the same. I got shot.
Okay, Bobby. Listen, what we got here is my partner and I, we went in vehicle pursuit of these three guys, and one of the guys all of a sudden pops up out of the sunroof and he starts shooting back at us, okay? And he blew out the lights of the police car. You can see it over here. They're all blown out. The front end is all blown out. My windshield's gone and shit. And finally, these guys pull over, and the driver, he ends up running that way. And my partner here who was driving, he went after him, and I took off. I took off after the other two guys, the guy that was in the back seat and the passenger, and we ran over this way, and I engaged him in a gun battle over here by this police car, okay? And I kind of hit the deck, and they ran around this corner. Well, I reloaded. By the time I got to this corner, I looked down, and I can see one of the guys. You see that bush down there at the end? Okay, he was on just the other side of this house here, way down there at the end, and he kind of peeked out at me, and he peeked out at me again, just 2 times, and so I figured, well, you know, we got a perimeter up. I had help on the way, and they seal off the area real fast, and I figured the safest way to do it was with you, with the dog, and see if we can get these guys. You know, they just tried to kill us here, so you know, we need to find them.
We'll do our best.
Okay.
Your dog will bite us. Probably.
Bite us?
Well, I don't think so, but I have, in all honesty, I've got to tell you, I've been doing this for about 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
Okay? I just got into this. The dog has been with me for about 2 months in my house,
Uh-huh.
but I've not been able to work with him up until about these last 2 weeks.
Okay. Have you ever been able to take guys on a search team with you?
Yes. We caught one last week.
Uh-huh.
We have a principal behind me.
Uh-huh.
We did. But I wanted to make you aware of that, okay? I don't think that he will.
Can you call me back if he tries to bite us?
Yes, I've
Okay.
got it.
All right.
Okay.
All right. We'll hang back farther.
Most of the work that I've done is on leash.
Okay, I want you to do whatever you normally do. Okay, that's what I want you to do.
So that's what I feel comfortable.
That's fine with us. Then we'll cover you.
Watch the holes. Sorry about that.
Where were you? Oh. Go around and reach over the fence and shoot him.
You let him walk.
Hey! Stop the shit! Catch up, poor fella! Stop the shit! Stand still! Down. What I want you to do is drop your gun. Slowly back away from my dog. Slowly back away.
Three guys, and one of the suspects was standing up inside the car, outside of the sunroof, and shooting back at us. You can see he blew out our lights and siren and the front of our car and windshield and everything. And they stopped over here and they bailed out, and the driver went that way. My partner here, he was driving the car. He took off after the driver, and they got in a gun battle down that way. I chased the guys over this way, the other two guys, and we shot it out right over here. I ran out of ammo, and my partner heard the shooting and figured I needed help. He came over here and let that guy go. When I was reloading, they went around this corner. And so when I got reloaded, I come up here, and I peeked around the corner, and down there by, see that bush way down there? Okay, see that last house there?
The big bush just to the right.
Yeah, the last house. Okay. Well, just on this side of that, at the corner of the house, I see this guy peek out at me. Okay, and he peeked his head out twice. I didn't see him anymore. We already had a perimeter to put up because we were requesting help all the way, and everybody made it real tight. I figured that
Two subjects were down there.
right. But I saw these two guys running this way, and I saw the one guy peeking his head out down there. Okay, and I figured we better call the dog because God knows I don't know where this guy is, and it's much safer and everything else.
He
So
hasn't come out. We haven't seen
right,
him
we haven't
again.
seen him since then.
Neither one of them.
Either one.
But this guy that went that way,
He's gone.
He is gone.
him and I had a gun battle, and I lost him. I couldn't find him more, and I heard my partner. Big gun battle here.
Third person's not a factor in this.
He's not in it.
Is this dog gonna bite me? Is he gonna?
You'll be my backup?
Yeah, Tom and I will be your backup. And how's he gonna react to gunfire if I shoot this guy?
He's not aggressive.
Okay.
Wait, I don't think you need to Tom. We haven't tried it with gunfire. I don't think he even bothers.
Okay.
All right. I didn't realize that was the shots in backup. So stay 15 foot behind me using shotgun.
Yeah.
Give me a pistol. You take care of both of us. Cover us. Watch my ass. I'm watching the dog.
Okay.
For instance, this guy comes out with a gun.
Shoot him.
Call him.
Marky. Push.
can't. I can't. I can't. I can't. I can't. I can't. Boy, I can't. Boy, I can't.
Okay, stand back over there to the front of the garage and fire around. Yeah. Again, fire another round. Again. Again, fire it. Fire it. Fight the dog good. Fight him good. Fight him good. Again, fire another round. Okay. Suspect was. Okay, he's supposed to be armed, just try to kill us, and all of a sudden you went in there right behind your dog.
He had it.
Right. Yeah, but what? Okay, would you do that with an armed suspect?
No.
Well, that's what we're supposed to be doing here. Okay, is not. We're supposed to be doing tactical situations, and you definitely don't want to walk right up on a suspect or right behind your dog when he's got the suspect. If you know he's there, you got the option of either telling your dog to take him or calling the dog back and order the man out with his hands up. That's, in fact, what you should be doing. Take cover, okay, because he's going to kill you. He doesn't care if the dog's on him or not. Okay? Okay, why don't you go ahead.
Police department, you're under arrest. Come on now, let's send the dog in.
How about you, pal, when I'm standing back here?
Sir.
He got nunchuckers on his fucking side. I've never seen that before, have you?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Yeah? I never saw him on there. Sam Brown's.
What you guys doing back up?
This dog fucking...
He said if he fired gun or you see the gun, he'll
Is that the front door of this place closed? No. We should close it. So the dog can go out and around. There he goes again. God damn it. Ow, man. What the fuck is he doing? We're gonna have to replace this guy. This is bullshit. This is fucking wrong.
Now. Do it!
Come on. Shoot back! God damn it. Oh.
Stand still.
Sure.
Taking around the corner here, and you see this big bush straight down there? Just on the outside of that building. Big bush. Guy stepped out of there. Only one guy stepped out of there. The same guy several times he stepped out.
Out from the bush or from inside the...
Out from the bush. Got anything?
So we got the perimeter officer.
It's very large. This is an alleyway here. That's what this is. Alleyway, and these are buildings and stuff.
We know where these closest houses, everything's secured up to the yellow house in this area here.
No, it's not secure. We didn't go any farther than this corner here.
Further near, the perimeter's on down quarter mile past these houses.
I think our best bet at this point is on feet is 1 or 2 backups, whatever I can get, as many people as I can get to go up with.
We're the shooters, we'd like to go in.
Okay, you guys follow, stay behind me. What we're gonna do is make our way up to the side, the corner of the house here. Okay, I want one person to stay right with me while I back up. I'll be watching him. Stay with me. The other man stay lag back just a little bit and cover us back behind what? Okay, and once we get up to that point, we'll turn the dog loose and do some area search.
Okay.
And we don't need to worry about him. If he comes back around, just stand still and shouldn't have any trouble.
If we get the shootout or something.
Just, like I say, whatever happens, go with it. Don't worry
Is he
about
going to bite us if we shoot?
No.
Okay.
No, he'll be fine. His attention's going to be drawn on the suspect. I'll make sure he has ID if the guy comes running out and so forth.
Okay.
Okay? Let's just tactically move up.
Okay. Okay. I don't see anything now. Okay. You gonna let him bite? No?
Yeah, if I can.
Sure. He's got a suit on. Could be. Okay.
King's X.
You're out.
Okay, King's X. And, you go put your dog back in the car, please, man.
You come back over, we'll critique it.
Oh, just turning from here?
Sure.
I was thinking just the area. I wanted to get closer to where he was last seen.
Yeah. Tip-off should have been he stuck his head out a couple times. This, in fact, happened to us in L.A.
Really?
Okay, yeah. What it was is this was a carport on the left, okay? And the officers did stop here. What had happened was the guy, one suspect went down, and he tried to bait the officers in. There was a suspect at the first carport inside behind a car, and he was going to blow him out of the shoes when they came by. We came up with the dogs. Two of my handlers came up with the dog, sent the dog down. Okay, the dog got downwind, and the wind was the same way. It was blowing this way. Got down, snapped back in to the carport, alerted the handlers to the suspect. They gave the big P command. The guy dove underneath the car. The dog took him from the ass. The handler shot the guy twice in the head here, right here in the temple. And the other guy, who was also a canine handler, skipped around. Remember I talked about skipping?
Yeah.
Skipped around under the car, took out his chest. Okay? That's what the dog is for. He's to search, right?
Yeah.
He was going to do it in a tactical way. Then if he saw him, he was going to cut the dog loose on him. It was being used strictly as a takedown tool. Yeah, this was the coat, huh? Okay, how you doing?
Just fine.
Why don't we come over this way and get out of the way here? Basically, what we have here is my partner and I went on a vehicle pursuit, and during the pursuit, this guy, there's 3 suspects in a car, and a guy jumps up and stands up out of the sunroof and shoots back at us with a gun. He blows out. You can see the make believe car over here with the lights blowing out, police lights blowing out in the front end, and windshield and everything else. We took a lot of rounds from him. Finally, they end up stopping over here, and the driver bailed out. And my partner who was driving, went after him that way, and the passenger and the guy in the back seat, they came this way. My partner gets in a gun battle with them over there, and then I get in a shootout with these 2 guys right over here. Okay, and he hears me and figures I need help, so he comes running this way, and that guy's history over there. Okay, he's gone. But because we put out a help call, they set up a good perimeter here. I had to stop and reload. I ran out of ammo, and the 2 guys, they ran around this corner right here. Okay, by the time I got up to this corner, I peeked down here, and you see that bush way down at the end down there, the big bush?
One next to the yellow house here?
The far yellow house, yeah.
Okay. The
With a meter on it, see where the meter is?
Yeah.
Okay, on the other side of that, right. Okay, on the other side of the guy peeked out a couple of times at me down there. Okay, when I was looking around the corner, he peeked out at me a couple of times, and we already had the perimeter established and everything else, and I figured, we'd use the K9 to go in there and get this motherfucker. Okay?
I'm going home.
Wrong idea.
Oh, sorry.
Did you get that on your camera, motherfucker? Okay. Okay. So, what do you want to do here?
Okay, these guys return fire to you, and there's 2 of them left?
Yeah, the 2 guys went around this corner, and I saw the one guy down there.
Guy down there?
Yeah.
So there could be any one
I don't know.
in between.
I don't know. All I know is I saw the one guy peeking out a couple
Doors
times.
slamming coming in,
No.
come up?
I didn't hear nothing.
Do you think they're in the houses?
No.
Or are they around the houses?
I don't know. I have no
Haven't seen
idea.
nothing except the one guy.
The one guy,
peeked out.
that's
You
it.
don't know if he was 1 or 2.
I have no idea. He was one of the guys that I had shot it out with over here.
What kind of guns are they got?
Handguns.
Okay. And you last saw them starting at this point?
This corner right here. This is where I last saw both of them go around, and I saw the one guy peeking out at me down there, way down at the end.
And they know we're here and we don't have to announce.
That's up to you. They know I'm here. They shot at my ass. That's all I know.
Who's going to help me?
Both of us, if we can.
Okay. I want you behind me. Okay. And you covering the 2 of us. We get to the guy. You cover us 2. I'll have him cuffed. Okay. We do that. I'll do it on lead. Try to keep it contained.
Okay. Is this dog gonna bite us if we shoot this guy?
He hasn't yet. You should be in good shape. I have all the confidence in the world in him that he won't do
Okay.
so.
Watch, there's a hole right here.
Say hi to these guys.
Serious, come here. Hey, Chipotle.
Did they give you a secure one? That's the
No, this is the one that gave me out front.
There's a hole there.
Yeah, we thought it was over there.
Oh.
All right, you might as well give yourselves up. This is police. Come on now, make it easy on yourselves. We're going to come in with a dog. We're going to find you. Got 10 seconds to surrender. We're coming in. Your last chance. Come out.
Okay, find me.
No! Come!
Yeah?
Someplace. Where is he? Zero in. Zero in. Where is he? Is he out? Where is he? In there? Where is he? Is he in there?
He's not in this room. He's not in this house. He's not in this house. Just for sake of time, he's not in this house.
Drop the gun. Drop the gun.
Hands on the wall. Hands on the wall.
I got him covered.
Pop. Pop. Come on up and get it. What? Where's your buddy?
Okay.
Man? This guy, isn't he?
That's him, man.
An asshole.
Hey, did you shoot at me? Why did you do the search on leash? This is a Schutzen 3 dog. How come he did it on leash?
Well, for one thing, wanted to be able, if there was an indication that the guy was in a crevice or something right in here, I could pull the dog back immediately on the guy for the dog's protection if he was armed and he was out loose, and I got loose, didn't see the dog where he went, just for the dog's protection.
Okay. This dog, having as much training as he's had, you should be able to call him back.
Oh yeah,
And
well, I wasn't worried about callbacks or anything like that. I was worried about him getting shot going around the corner.
Better him shot than you, huh? You're talking 6-foot leash here, pal. If that guy really wanted to kill you, he would have killed you. You know, you're too close. Situation like that, maybe you might think about if the dog goes up and alerts on that door. I will say this is the only dog that's alerted on him from inside that house. And the dog's got a hell of a nose.
Oh yeah.
Okay. He alerts on him at the door. Then all you take cover and call your dog back and call him out. You got him now. Now he can come out whatever way he wants. If he comes out shooting, you got the advantage. If he comes out with his hands up, he goes to jail. You had to walk up and open up that door, and if he's sitting right there, boom, there goes your head.
This is 160 cent next man.
So something to think about. He comes and peeked out at me, one of the guys. And so we already had a perimeter established. We had already requested help, and it was real tight, so we figured we'd just give you a call and go find these guys.
We have 2 people.
That's who I got in the gun battle with, was 2 people, and I saw the one guy way down there.
Supposedly it's gone.
The driver is gone, yeah. So but I shot it out with 2 guys here, and they ran around the corner, and one of them I saw down there at the end down there.
They do have the weapons with them now.
As far as I know, they sure shot at me.
Now, what's the scenario? For me to go by myself, or we take up somebody?
Whatever you do normally.
Whatever we normally do?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, normally we take whoever's available.
Okay, we're available.
Okay. One man stays close to me, as close as possible.
Okay.
I prefer within arm's reach of me.
Okay.
My dog. The second man stay way back.
Okay.
Drop on back on us. The lead man, watch for me, because I'm gonna be watching the dogs we go around.
All right.
I'm sure they're inside of the house knows. So we'll work the outside of the house area first.
Okay.
One thing else. There's something here. Our adversaries are going to have protection on apparently, aren't they? The dog?
Yeah.
If the dog gets loose?
Yeah, if he's out there, yeah.
Okay, well, that's the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's protected.
He's protected because my dog, it don't matter, he bites still.
Okay, that's fine.
How are we? All right.
Are we okay around the dog?
No problem.
How about if we shoot? Is he aggressive on gunfire?
He's going to be aggressive on gunfire.
Okay.
So, still need you in close.
Okay.
He should ignore you.
Okay.
Normally,
If I shoot, he's gonna ignore me?
he should ignore you.
Okay.
He should be on the other person.
Okay.
Like I said, don't get too far back. So we can both touch hands at reaching up.
Okay.
You have one. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Jill. And they're in here. The inside of the house first. Get there.
Okay, well, that's not available. It's not tactically or feasibly. It's not feasible. We have to start from down here.
We have to start from this end, right?
Right.
Okay. Over. So we'll work from this end here on everything. He's not a certain tracking dog, so only strictly in.
Okay.
That's all we can do.
Okay.
Work this way from front of the house line.
All right.
Whole area is surrounded by concrete right here. Big holes.
Like I say,
Yeah, right there. Watch the hole right there. Arm reach. Okay.
we go ahead and search the other houses on the way down.
Sure. Whatever you want to do, whatever you think is best.
Okay.
I have no idea where the guy is.
Okay, let's start there. Our
Okay.
backs first. The other officer holds up behind us here. Cover our back. Good boy. Okay, Roy. Come on. Okay, ready?
Ooh, watch your dog, watch your dog. You gotta shoot, man. Shoot him back. Send you, oh. Take this, go ahead and take the bite. This is one of the railroad dogs from Laredo. Not Laredo, but San Antonio. The train was San Antonio. And this was carports over on that side. And what it was trying to bait the officers in. The officers were smart enough to stop. Came in with the canine unit, sent them down the alley. Dog goes down until he gets downwind, snaps back in, goes into the carport. The suspect sees the dog coming, and he is waiting behind a car. He's going to kill a policeman as they come by. He goes underneath the car with gun in hand. The dog takes him in the ass, and the canine handler puts 2 rounds in his head, and the other canine handler, who was a backup team, skips around. Remember I talked about skipping around? Skipped around underneath the car and took out his chest. Okay? Very dangerous on leash. Your choice. Very dangerous, as you can see. Even if you would have located him inside there. Okay? That's, you got open doors. It's from me to you, 6 foot away, and you open the door and the guy's right here. Boom. Much safer to go off leash with control, be able to send your dog down there,